Tired of clients who don't value your work? Let's talk about how to avoid them. Hey, it's Jacob. Welcome to this new video. Today I want to talk about client selection. Client selection is one of the most important things you need to understand in order to be successful as a freelancer or as an independent contractor, or what if you end up like working with clients one-on-one, then you need to understand this thing. So why do you need to understand that? One of the thing, if you're a freelancer, let's say, then what you need to understand, this is super crucial, because you're probably on a platform, and on a platform, usually what is the most important thing is reviews. And if you have bad reviews, then if you're getting started and you have bad reviews, you're done. I mean, let's talk about like Upwork, for example. Upwork is a review-driven platform. If you start and you have one bad review, you can delete your account. Like, that's not worth like going more into it. There's no point. You're not gonna be successful. Even me, as someone who's had multiple clients on the platform and 5 stars like across the board. If I were to have like a bad review, it would be extremely difficult for me to recover from this, because it's just like the people are extremely skeptical. Like it's a death sentence if you have that. That's it. So that's why it's super critical to select your clients as much as possible. Now there is that, but there is also like payment issues, and you're gonna be like, maybe you're gonna think, well, okay, well, I need to make sure they're gonna pay me. Yeah, well, it's not that simple, because like, okay, let's say you have like something to do, like you have a task here. You're doing that task, but then like there is no amount of definition of that task that is gonna be enough ever. What do I mean by that? Like, let's say you do the task, like whatever the task might be. Let's say a software, okay? I'm going to take a real example. This is something that actually happened to me, right? So, yeah, I'm going to explain that. You're going to be like, okay, I did what you asked me to do. They're providing the requirements for the software, and you do it, right? And then you deliver. And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. I saw that there is that one issue here. Like, there is a small issue. Can you fix that? And you're like, well, sure, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then they're gonna be like, okay, can you add this thing as well? Because it needs to be compatible with other things, right? And then it's like, well, obviously, like if you're doing a software, it needs to be compatible. Like to the clients, it's obvious that it was implied in the task that you were, that all of the back and forth like that was included into the task. And of course, like it's going to go, you're going to go on and on and on and on and on. It's like that task is never being completely done. It can't go forever. Like they can add as many things as they like, and you can't really say anything. Why? And that's where that comes into play, because there is the bad review thing. If you have a bad review, you're done. So you need to do all of that free of charge until until the end of time, and that's it. Obviously, like that's a little bit of a this is not that's an exaggeration. That's not exactly how things work. Obviously, like the task is going to end up being done at some point. But you understand my point. Like things, you cannot be paid for things, even though like they say they're gonna pay, even though they're super nice, even though they're like they seem like they are gonna pay you. It's not enough. It's really not enough. And so now those things, they are important, but like understand that while you're doing all of that, then you do not get to have other clients. Because like if you because maybe you're thinking, well, I mean, yeah, sure, but I really need the money, and it's like then I'm gonna take anything that I want. But understand that it's how do you call it, like a zero-sum game, right? Like if you're taking that client, you're not gonna have another client, and that client, not only is that a bad client here, and not only maybe you're thinking, well, I'm willing to take on a bad client. Well, yeah, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to take good clients that potentially could like be willing to pay for what you're doing. So it's like there is no situation that would justify working with a bad client. There is just none. And you might be thinking, well, what about like if I have zero money? Like I need the money right now. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But let's talk about like how do you identify the bad clients, right? Some of the red flags that I identified myself, and of course, like those are just one of many things. And then at the end of the day, if there is one of them, that doesn't mean necessarily that I'm not going to work with them, but I need to be compensated for working with them somehow, right? So that means another thing that can be money, that can be like them being very nice, them being very responsive, and so on and so forth, needs to be extremely a lot better than other clients in order to compensate for like them not having one of those, for them having a red flag, right? I'm going to take that into account. So this is something that I come up with for myself just because I needed it, right? But you need to do like your own screening based on like your own experience. But hopefully this will help. So the first red flag is contracts. And basically, if you are working and then they are giving you a contract that is extremely restrictive, meaning they're going to own everything that you're doing, you're not allowed to like do anything with whatever of their content. You need to sign an NDA. You need to you are not going to be able to like work with the competition for like 2 years after your contract is done with this person, and so on and so forth, and then it keeps going and going and going. This is a red flag. To me, this is a red flag because like that means they're extremely suspicious about like who they are working with. It's like, sure, some people might say, well, that's a good thing to be suspicious of other people and so on and so forth. But like at some point, I'm sorry, but that's a red flag to me, because usually they're gonna keep being suspicious while working with you, and they're gonna keep like asking for like always second guessing everything that you're doing, not trusting you. You're gonna always have to prove that you're trustful, even though like you've done everything right, and then they have like an idea in their head of the time that something might take, but just because they don't understand the actual time frame and everything that is involved with it, then they're just not gonna they're gonna think that you're stealing from them. So all of those things, that's one of the red flag for me. I'm not saying again like if there is that, then I'm not gonna work with them, but that's a red flag, right? So the second one is being unresponsive. If they're basically very slow at responding to what you're doing, right? Because this is, I mean, and it goes with like lack of interest in their work. That's the next one, but they're really the same, right? Like it seems like you care more about what they are doing than they do, kind of. You know, let's say if you want to do like a web application, if you're a software engineer or whatever, it's just to give you an actual example, then if you are asking more questions and you're being a lot more responsive than they are, it means like they don't care. Like, do they actually care about what they are doing? And also like that's also an intuitive thing, right? Like be not caring about that, what they're doing, is something you're gonna like feel, right? This is not just about not being responsive, or it's not it's not binary, is what I mean, right? It's something that you need to be there is a little bit of practice to get this right. But like when you feel like they don't really care, and then you explain, let's say you have a discussion and then they ask you to do something, and you explain all of the trade-offs that you could make, and then start a conversation, and then they cut you off. They're like, yeah, do that, you know? And they don't really even get into the conversation. It's supposed to be a conversation if you're talking with someone that, if that person wants you to implement something in their business or whatever the thing might be, they need to be at least a little bit interested in what they are doing. so for me, red flag, like 100% red flag. Another thing is screen monitoring. So screen monitoring, that's another like trust issue thing. Like, I mean, sure, maybe that makes sense for people who are like, they don't. That means they don't trust anyone. If you are monitoring your screen, let me explain what it is, right? Like, if you don't know, that means like you have to use some type of software when you're working that is going to take a screenshot every whatever the period of time might be, like maybe an hour. Every hour you have a screenshot of your work being taken for on your screen, right? So, and then it's being sent to your clients. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, the entire point of being an independent and not working for like in a corporate environment is that you are in charge of your time. You are not, you're result oriented. You're not here to waste anybody's time. This is not a good deal to like basically just procrastinate and waste time and then have like everything being recorded, and then people are saying, I saw the screenshot, it looks like it's working well. It's like it's never ending. Like and also you have there are ways to make it look like you're working. So it's like, this is just not a good environment to work in. So again, that's a red flag. That's a pretty strong red flag as well. Now, what? Now, so the consequences of, that's, okay, let's remove that. And now I'm going to talk about like, what do you do if you have zero money? Because I've been there, right? Like, you need the money, you don't have it, and then you are thinking, well, I need to accept some clients because I need the money. And I don't have I can't afford not to accept that client. And again, I think if that's really, really your situation, well, I would recommend thinking about doing something else. And now I understand that it can seem a little bit tough, but I've been there. So I'm telling you that this is actually a good advice that I would have liked to have at this point. So understand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying like stop, give up and do something else forever. I'm saying have something else that is going to give you some money so that you can then also work on prospecting and finding clients that are good, but never take a bad client. So that means like do whatever the thing might be, right? Like it might be a part-time job, it might be like a full-time job for a short period of time, it might be a lot of different things. Doesn't really matter. The point is, don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially in this one. That's what I mean, because we need to understand there are two types of things, right? I could get a lot more technical with it, but like let's say there are two worlds, and one world is the risky world, and there is another one that is the safe world, right? So the thing basically like this comes down to like basically like fat tail distribution and Gaussian distribution of money. That's the technical terms to mathematically like model those types of jobs or of activity, right? So basically the risky one is like the entrepreneurial, let me put that in blue here, and the safe one is corporate. And those two, that means like this has more potential and this is safer. So but this is more risky, right? Like the risky one by definition is more risky, and the safe one has less potential, but it's safer. So if you don't have money and you need at least a little bit of money, do one that is safe. Do something that is safe and then move on to the risky things. But like you can't just put all your eggs into the risky situation. That doesn't work, because it's just you have a lot of potential, but like it's really unlikely to happen. And that's some people misunderstand what I'm saying, because people don't understand that probability of things happening and the potential, like the impact that you're gonna make, like the money. Those are two different variables, meaning that you can have a low probability of success That doesn't mean you should not do that. If something has a higher probability of success, but you're getting paid less, then obviously that might make more sense to do the more risky things with more potential for earning a lot of money, right? There are two things to take into account. So let me write that down. There is the probability and there is the impact. Those are two different things. So here, the money, and here the probability is just like, yeah, the how many people are succeeding, like the percentage of it, right? So those two things, you need to take them into account and understand that the safe place, you can put all your eggs in one basket here because it's really safe. You cannot do that here. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. And if you want to be part of my contacts, click on the link in the description. And if I want to share something with you, I'll send you an email. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.